What's up, athletes? So I'm out here doing my work, and I don't use too many gym terms or bro talk or whatever, but gains came to mind for some reason. And what does gains really mean? For me personally, my bearded philosophy, as I like to say, it transcends muscle mass. Gains, if I never got any stronger, but I got up every day and still did my workouts, I would feel that I was making gains because each day is a different challenge, whether we're getting older, whether it's a new job, different schedule, children, relationships, what have you. So every time you get up and you go out and you do that work, you're gaining something. And again, it may not be size, but you're gaining a strength that people won't see when it comes to how much you can put on a bar and pick it up. And so, school, job, just personal, effects and affairs of who we are. Every time you work on those, day in, day out, as diligently as you might at the gym or at the track, you're making gains. And I think it's important to point that out because a lot of people will be short-sighted in how they see themselves outside of physical attributes, and it's important. It's important to see that every time you get up and you go to work, every time you are in class, every time you're turning those papers in, or whatever it is that you are achieving in life, it's a gain and it's a win. And we don't have to compete with others in order to win. We compete with ourselves, we set up challenges, we set goals, and we move forward and we meet them. So, guys, just my 2 cents on the matter. I hope that it resonates with some people, and I hope it enlightens others to start really thinking of yourself in different terms. Have a fantastic day. HWPO, hard work pays off, Impact Athletics Association.
What's up, athletes? So I figured I would jump on here. I don't always get the time to make this videos like I used to because we do so many lives. We've been doing fantastic with that. Shout out to everybody who is participating in the lives and bringing positive contribution to the channel and to the chat. But that said, I do like to address a lot of the things that will come up in the chat. Regardless if they come from detractors or not, I think that there's a valuable lesson for us to all learn. So one of the people recently has been insisting in the chat, they will come back time after time, and insist that working out twice a day is not going to get you gains, and he has science to back him up. So we're going to look at that. Let's first and foremost, let's look at the word gain. Let's just look at the definition. What does gain mean? Gain is a verb or noun that says to obtain, secure something desired, favorable, or profitable. And the example is the process has gained the confidence of the industry, or their blend of acoustic folk pop gained them several chart hits. Similar words would be obtain, get, acquire, come by, procure, or secure. And then let's bring over to one's interest or views, win over, to gratify the queen and gain the court. So different ways to obtain, secure, acquire, that to gain something. Let's see, there is a second definition as well. Increase the amount or rate of something, typically weight or speed. Okay, so I have gained weight over the years. Similar, put on, add on, build up, increase in. So I think that's what we're looking at when people talk about gain. Usually the term that I recall is like you're gaining mass or something like that. But I think it's just been chopped down and slanged up. So now you see gains, and a lot of times it's with the Z, which is all good. So what this person is coming to the chat telling us is that training twice a day, there you will not put on, add on, or build up. Now, all he said was gains. He didn't say you won't gain muscle. He didn't say you won't gain stamina or anything else. So I'm going to just take him at that word. I'm going to take him at that. So what are gains? I found this article in Very Well Fit from 2024, about a year ago. Or actually, coming up on 2 years ago. That it says, here's what the experts say about should you be working out twice a day. So we're going to take a look at that. Take a quick look at this, and I will probably go live on this as well. I think it's an interesting topic, but I also wanted to just get down to it to where we're talking without the distractions of people who will come in and try to argue the point. So, working out twice a day is usually relegated to the world of high level athletes training for specific sport or competition. Generally, I would agree. I'm just going to skip through some of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The average person has enough trouble making time for a single workout, much less carving out enough time for 2 bouts a day of exercise. But that doesn't mean you should scoff at the concept altogether. 2-a-day workouts have their benefit as long as you know how to implement the proper schedule for this. Okay, so let's one of the benefits, increased training volume. Okay, so you get a little bit more out of your training. 2, reduce sedentary time. Sedentary for me kind of gets a bad rap. I think it's kind of seen in a different way, similar to the way diet is. When you eat something, that is your diet. Diet doesn't necessarily mean a deprivation of food. You can certainly cut back, but you can have a diet that's more high caloric in count as well. So diet is just simply what we're taking in. It's not just always cutting food out. So sedentary to me is not just somebody sitting at home playing video games or refusing to get off the couch. Sedentary can be somebody who works long office hours, who is driving on the road. And shout out to all our truck drivers, our on the road people, and the delivery people who are sitting in vehicles for long periods of time. That can be sedentary too. It's just void of exercise or void of being able to move on a regular basis for long periods of time, and that can be troublesome. So I wanted to get into that, just reduce sedentary time. I wanted to touch on that. This is not about lazy people. This is about people who have jobs that don't allow them to physically move quite often. So that's a big part of why I say, like, when you have breaks at work, go walk the parking lot, go walk the stairs or something like that. Try to take back a little of what that job's taken from you. And if you can, like if you're in a cubicle, just every 10 minutes or so, stand up, do a couple squats or something. Another benefit, performance gains. Okay, accelerated muscle growth. So right there you have performance gains. So you would perform better, which means you would have gains by training twice a day, and accelerated muscle growth, which would mean that you are building up or gaining. Drawbacks: higher overtraining risk. I can see that absolutely, and increased injury risk. Those two go hand in hand. So from my personal experience, yeah, certainly, you see a lot of people, they will try to do too much too soon, and they've been indoctrinated. Got to get gains, and so they're doing too much. And so a lot of times, if you are talking about working out twice a day, certainly you can do what's called a split, but sometimes it's not working the same part that you did at the top of the day at the end of the day. So when you're doing that, if you come in the morning, you do like chest and tricep, don't come back and do chest and tricep, especially if you've done a substantial amount of weight. Your body needs time to rest. So there you would detract from your process and your progress. But yes, increased risk of injury. Yes, if you're not giving your body the time to properly rest and recover, which is a big four for us at Impact: hydration, nutrition, exercise, and rest. So rest isn't just sleep. How are you recovering from your workouts as well? Are you putting any nutrients in your body afterwards? Or hot shower, ice bath, massage, stretching? What is it that you are doing? So let's see. Benefits of working out twice a day. One of the most apparent benefits to 2-a-day workouts, that you're logging more activity than you were if you were only exercising once. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. A 2017 study published in the International Journal of Obesity points to time spent sedentary as a clear risk factor for coronary heart disease and increased waist circumference. So there you would be gaining at the belt line. I think most people don't want that. So if you can increase your daily activity, that's a good thing. Absolutely. Let's see. Budding in coach and sports nutritionist for twice a day in the same day can trigger accelerated muscle growth and strength gains. Again, the word gains. Mentori says training volume is an essential factor for almost all fitness goals, and training several times a day allows you to squeeze in more volume, increasing protein synthesis, metabolic capacity, and anabolic output. In other words, when programmed correctly, two-a-days could help you reach your goals faster. Plus, you may find that two shorter workouts are better fit for your schedule than one longer one. Sounds like you would also gain on your schedule as well. Sounds like you could also gain. So we'll look at the drawbacks as well. Let's see. Aside from the fact that double workouts mean double the sweaty laundry, the primary problem with two-a-days is that increased training volume puts at greater risk for overtraining. I can agree with that. If you aren't doing it right or you're not aware of your limits, and each one of us are different, and each one of us are coming in at different ages and stages. And I would say like two-a-days wouldn't be one of those things that, unless the point or the goal is to be performing at a competitive rate. So for instance, playing football, we had two-a-days. But I don't think just in a regular setting would I get myself up at the crack of dawn to do that level of working out. Plus, we were also full contact as well a lot of the times. Then come back and do that same level as well. But we did that, but it built you up for competition. Now, if you were just talking about being pedestrian, average like the rest of us, that is all good to come in the morning, do a pretty intensive workout, and then maybe in the evening tone it down a little bit, do some stretching or something else. So overtraining, definitely we want to be very careful of that. Exercise is considered a form of physical stress, and even though this type of stress stimulates physical adaptations that support all-around good health, adding too much at once can prove problematic. Yes, so again, when people get it in their heads that they need to be doing a certain amount, or if you're coming back and you remember when you did more, and now you're trying to press that, like I need to get back to that, you got to take the ego out of it. Take the ego out of it, whether you feel that you are behind your friends or behind just in life, or that you need to get back to where you were. We're not always going to be that person, and you just have to be you. And this is where patience comes into play when it comes to our health and fitness. Things don't just change just like that. You have to put the work in. You have to be patient. So building up is something that I would say is very important here. Especially when you're talking about lifting weights. What we do is we do body weight, we do calisthenics, and for myself and for many people that have joined the group, they know that they've acclimated themselves to it. Some people will leave in the chat, hey, I did what I could, and that's that. They know their limits. So you have to know your limits. You have to be very attuned with yourself to know what it is that you want out of this. What are your goals first and foremost? And then once you are getting into that process, to be able to say, okay, I'm good. I've had enough for that, and I want to be ready for the next one. So a lot of times, and rest days count as well. So yes, it can prove problematic. I am not of the mind that just there's no risks involved with this, but I am here to say that you absolutely can train twice a day. If you do it smart, if you do it wise, if you have a game plan for it, and you know what your goals are, and you can see a benefit, you can see a gain from it. And this is supporting what I'm saying. Let's see. It can really tax your neuromuscular system, Mentori says, increasing your likelihood for injury, disrupting sleep patterns, suppressing your immune system, and many other systems if you don't take time to recover appropriately. Once again, guys, rest. So disrupting sleep patterns, that can be detrimental for just your health, never mind like your fitness. Suppressing your immune system, again, you don't want to start breaking down, getting sick, things like that, and other symptoms. So we just want to be careful. Let's see, they say, as the adage goes, there is such thing as too much of a good thing. Absolutely. So we're going to skip down a little bit. Advice for beginners. Anyone new to exercise who has taken a break from regular sweat sessions for several weeks or months should not jump into a two-a-day training routine. For starters, there's no clear benefit to doing so. There's also no guarantee you'll build muscle or burn fat faster or more efficiently by implementing a two-a-day plan, especially if you're a beginner. So again, take your time. Take your time on this. It's not, you have the time to do it. And as much as we want to get to that point, what it is, there's a great lesson in that maybe we should have been doing this all along. It's not a shame tactic to say that. It's no different than saying I should have been saving my money before I realized like I am in real financial problems, things like that. So we just want to make sure that we understand that we should stay on it and be consistent while we are doing it. Let's see. Not to mention, most people who are doing two-a-days are doing so with the guidance of a trainer or coach. This helps to ensure that the potential drawbacks of overtraining and the risks of and the injury risks are being monitored and hopefully managed appropriately. Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to skip down. How to add more movement to your day. If you're new to exercise or coming off a break, the best way to implement twice daily workouts is to simply look for ways to increase your total daily activity level. This does not mean you have to head to the gym and pump iron for 30 minutes, then head back later in the day and run for the treadmill. Let's see. Rather, it's finding ways to stay active throughout the day. For instance, let's see. Use a foam roller at night. If you did a morning strength training session, rolling can relieve soreness, reduce inflammation, and increase your range of motion. So there you go. Vibrating foam roller, something that they also talk about. Turning on music while doing your regular housekeeping, and dance as you go. Guys, I talk about this so often. I talk about dance time as a great form of cardiovascular, great form of just endorphin release. You're just going to feel better for it. Motor skills, coordination, you're kind of keeping up on those things. And if you take it a step further, and I'm sure there's something on some social media platform that will teach you dance steps. So now if you're learning dance steps like a little routine, now you're talking about the cognitive. You're talking about building up your cognitive as well. So music can certainly help. Try taking a 10-minute walk with your family after dinner. That's a big one. And a 10-minute walk is beautiful. It's going to help your digestive process. Make sure you get some water with that. And it's really going to help like break down. And again, you're not eating, then just sitting. So yeah, a 10-minute walk doesn't hurt. Even a 20-minute walk, what have you. But that's extremely important. I think so. I think that's probably one of the big ones, to try to be active after eating. And something like a 10-minute walk is perfect. Let's see. How to plan twice daily workouts. Allow at least 6 hours of space between moderate and to intense workouts. So let's see. We go live 4:30 Mountain Standard Time in the morning. We're usually done by about 6. Then we go about 5 in the evening. So we've got plenty of time in between. Plenty of time. And when you're talking about, again, I don't consider it to be moderate to intense most of the time. Maybe moderate to intense, maybe. But here's the beauty of it. Everybody's at their own level. So some people will say, hey, I was sore, I missed that workout. Hey, I took a rest day, or, what have you. So, and some people say I'm going to do part of it, and that's great too. So time in between our workouts, and moderate to intense is going to depend on the person. So what I might call moderate, somebody else is going to call intense. That's just how that works. So let's see. Also try changing into a pair of slides to aid in recovery after intense workouts. Okay, good stuff. Let your feet kind of rest. I'm all for the barefoot, moving around. Engage in strenuous training earlier in the day. Okay. And less demanding exercise during your second session. This keeps you on a steady schedule and supports continued recovery after your first, more challenging routine. Certainly. And from what I understand, if you have a more intense workout at the start of the day, you are setting your metabolism to burn at a higher caloric rate throughout the rest of the day because of that. So that might be a good thing to do. And if you are working out like morning, evening, probably in order to wind yourself down, you probably don't want a really exerting workout. So let's see. Perform longer workouts early in the day. There you go. Let's see. Prioritize nutrition and hydration between workouts to prepare your body for the second session. I agree. Nutrition, absolutely. It's your fuel, guys. It is your fuel. So you can't drive, let's say, 100 miles and then plan to drive that 100 miles back. But you filled your tank going there, but then you only filled it halfway coming back. So you're going to run out at some point if you don't fill your tank both ways. So get your full allotment of nutrients. Add naps to your day. I'm a huge proponent of naps. I personally don't sleep 6 hours straight or 8 hours straight. Excuse me. I sleep more closer to six, but day I will grab a nap, and so that's fantastic for me. It helps that rest recovery. I feel good for being able to put those naps in, and they say naps may even improve your stamina. Naps can also boost creativity, reduce stress, and increase alertness. Good stuff. Starting slow. The more advanced or competitive you are, the more days in a row you can do. Okay, the typical weekend warrior shouldn't do more than 2 days in a row of multiple workouts. So if you're doing, say, like Monday, Tuesday, you're getting morning, evening. Maybe then Wednesday you do one day or take a rest day and then get back to it. So just work on like around your schedule. I know when I worked graveyard schedules, it was easier for me to do more things on days that I didn't have to go in that evening. Or even when I worked a day schedule at my last job, you have the ability to say, okay, in the evenings I'm going to get a little bit more in. But you just work on your schedule. So that's what's going to best serve you, and it's going to allow that you're going to be able to put that in and rest appropriately as well. Increase calorie and nutrient intake on rest days to facilitate recovery, and make sure you pay attention to your sleep and stress management. Consider adding massage therapy. Use a massage gun, for instance, or meditation for your recovery days. Absolutely, good stuff, guys. There's so much good stuff here in this. They talk about split sessions, which is a huge one. And shout out to some of the people that have been in our chats that I asked, because I knew them to be trainers or have some level of experience as professional bodybuilders, certified trainers, and they've talked about doing split sessions and just making sure that you aren't trying to do the same thing on both ends. Now, they did mention that things like powerlifting, you wouldn't necessarily be a powerlifter and try to do two a days because of the exertion on the body. So that's what we're talking about. So to this person's point, who said that you if you work out twice a day, you'll get no gains. So it works both ways. According to him, he's saying there's no gains in it because he didn't even say specifically like what the point was. It was just like you'll get no gains that way. Well, I disagree, and I'm living proof that you can. But I think you can also detract from your gains by breaking yourself down too much, and maybe that's what he meant. But we didn't really get a full scope, but I still feel like this is a very important thing to speak on, and it's a lesson for all of us. So let's also look at strength and cardio. Start your morning with whichever workout is most taxing. If you tend to lift heavy, do your strength training in the morning. But if you're training for a race or a run or a bike first, run or bike first thing. Then do the opposite routine in the evening. So if you like doing strength training and cardio on the same day, but you hate how long it takes to do both, you may want to split your workout into two separate routines. So yeah, you can hit the weight pile one session, probably the morning, and then come back and do some cardio at night. Shave off a few more of those calories. Heavy training followed by recovery. If you're bad about stretching after your typical routine, adding a second workout focused on recovery and mobility may be a good option. There you go. Your first session can be your heavy lifting, intense cardio, or HIIT workouts, and then you can come back and do some sort of stretching, yoga, meditation, what have you. Foam rolling, all that stuff, acupressure. So good stuff, guys, good stuff. Now, there were some people in the comments that also, in the chat, that also had some really good points. Because when you're talking about gains, and soul. And so you might be getting up and saying, I can do something twice a day. That might be a place for a lot of people, that you can say, I can do something twice a day and I can feel good about it. You might be gaining something over, again, a sedentary lifestyle or a health condition that you had no say in. A sedentary lifestyle, certainly that could be a thing. Obesity can be a thing. But what about somebody who just has a medical condition, who might have needed medical care or overcoming something, maybe even just like an accident or something. So there's plenty of places that you can have a gain over something that had a hold of you before, whether you picked it or not. So there is that. Somebody also talked about being able to gain the ability to interact with more people, making friends. I think that's an important piece to this. So gains, I'm not mad that somebody says you're not going to get gains and things like that, but we think in a much different capacity. It doesn't mean I'm thinking better, but I see gains as a life thing, not just a gym thing. And once you start seeing that, when you're in the gym, you're in this tiny bubble. And most of the time, you expect that people can lift what you lift or do what you do, or at least they should be able to. Once you start to mature and expand that bubble, you start to see that there are people that are different walks. That's why we say all stages and ages, all ages and stages here at Impact, because we understand there are people that we have people as under the age of 10 and people over the age of 70 that are working out with Impact. So we understand that there are things that really go across the scope of people. If you want to do certain things like powerlifting and it's just in your little bubble and it's competitive, that's great. But then just leave the rest of us alone. Like that's the thing, is like you're not gaining anything in your life by trying to tear down other people. So you can gain emotionally, mentally, in your confidence. You can gain spiritually just by having those talks with yourself, by like, man, I really feel good. That pride socially by getting out there. And as you feel better physically, then possibly you put yourself out there more. And who knows? Or you're just in these chats. There's so many ways spiritually. Financially, it might even get you on the point where you say, like, I deserve a better job, or I'm going to start saving money. I'm going to start doing these things. It might just be that catalyst that starts to spark a lot of other things in your life. So, gains is not just a physical attribute. And we saw that by way of the definition. Now, if that's what you're aiming for, that's cool. But I would say gain a little perspective and just leave the rest of the people who are not in your wheelhouse out of the way. It's similar to people who take martial arts and then they try to pick on people who don't take martial arts. Like, no, go fight somebody who does martial arts. But the people who are just going about their own business and wanting to have their own piece of the pie, their own little sliver of happiness, and making gains as they would see it, leave them out of it. That would be my advice. This person still seems to think that they are living rent free in my head. No, I will take it. I will hear what you say, and I will also make it a talking point. So I'm not having you live rent free in my head. You are a squatter. You're trying to move into mine. And this is where we're going to leave it at that, because we've addressed it. We've had people who are more certified and accredited than myself talk to this and validate what I'm talking about. So I'm always open to hear what other people have to say, but we're going to do it in a context that is positive and productive for everybody to learn from. And unfortunately, what this person did is at some point they came back, decided to call me a soft boy and things like that. And so once you realize, once they've gotten to the ad hominems where they start the name calling, things like that, they've lost. They've lost. And that's all that they're worth, and they steam, and they weren't really willing to enter into conversation without being disingenuous. So this is why I'm doing this. So we have some facts, we have some figures, we have some things. I'm going to take this article and I'm going to put it in the description so you can read the whole thing as well. And if there's something I missed, we can certainly cover it again. But I probably will make this alive as well. But I just wanted to put this out. Just because it's been a while since I sat down with you guys like in this capacity. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I know it can be a lot. I know I've said a lot. So there's always the replay and there was always the article. But it's not a topic that we are just shutting the doors on. We're just shutting the doors on the negative energy that comes with it. So if we ever have questions about 2-a-day workouts, things like that, by all means, let's address it again. But in the meantime, please leave a comment, leave your ace up the sleeve, your advice, comment, experience in the chat. Love to see what you guys have to say. And, as always, we like to say, all right, guys, before we finish this out, I wanted to throw one more piece of gain in how we can perceive this. And it's more of a VAJ philosophy sort of thing. So what we're looking at is going above internal norms. Okay, so if you've set a bar for yourself that you just normally do a certain thing and you've exceeded that,
that's a gain. That's a gain in itself. So keep in mind that you can do that multiple times a day. And the perception for a lot of people is that gains have to just be a physical thing. It's not. This is why we say mind, body, and soul here at Impact Athletics Association, training for life. These mantras exist for a reason because it's more than just the physical appearance or the physical performance. There's nothing wrong with that. But for a lot of people who only see it in that bubble, that's okay. But for the rest of us who understand and want to continue to grow in other ways, betterment of self, this is why something like an acronym or a mnemonic, like going above internal norms, like set bars for yourself and then exceed it. Read that extra page per day, or learn an extra word per day, or there's so many ways that it's not just in the physical. So it's okay that some don't understand it, and maybe it's just one of those things. The more we talk about it, some people will start to see it. The seed will grow. They'll get some sunshine in the way of hearing other people's opinions, and we can water that too and hopefully help it grow like these plants. Hopefully they're growing here. But guys, I wanted to leave that little piece in because I think that it's very important for us to be able to understand that this is a completion. This is about being a well-rounded being, a well-rounded person. So yes, we certainly can have the physical, but we want to make sure that we understand that gaining has so much more to do outside of the gym, so much more to do outside of our physical, um, and so there it's important. So the physical aids these other areas. They all go hand in hand, mind, body, and soul. But we can't just be hung up on one portion of it. So it's great that people have focus and they have their drive to want to improve in certain areas and make their gains, but make sure it's accompanied in other areas as well. So that's where I'm going to leave. And as always, what was I saying?
HWPO, that means hard work pays off, and this is the Impact Athletics Association. So we will see you guys soon, and in the meantime, subscriptions and videos. So click another couple videos, leave me some comments there, stick around. I'll respond, you know me. Hey guys, have a fantastic day.